I have filmed this video twice, but it was out of focus, so we're gonna film it again, and I hope it works this time. Hey, what's up you guys? My name is Xander Foster, and today I wanted to tell you guys the story of how I picked my name. If you guys haven't caught on by now, I am a transgender male. I was assigned female at birth. I was given a female name on my original birth certificate, and it wasn't until I came out as transgender that I claimed Xander to be my name. Previous to coming out as trans, going by things that weren't my name was not unheard of. In my own household, I had a lot of nicknames, and I think I responded a little bit more positively to those than my own name just because they weren't gendered. When I switched from private school to public school in 3rd grade, I introduced myself on the playground as Lucas, and it wasn't until about 2 weeks after switching schools that my 3rd grade teacher collectively corrected the class and said that that wasn't my name. For as long as I can remember, I've been signing journal entries as things other than my name. I used to take my favorite book characters and sign their names at the bottom of my journal entries instead of my own. So when I was into the Narnia series, I signed my name Caspian. When I was into the Pendragon series, I signed my name Bobby. When I was into the Percy Jackson series, I signed my name Percy. And it wasn't until I claimed Xander that I started using my own name and signing Xander. After I came out as transgender to myself, to my family, to my friends, I knew that I wasn't going to start hormones right away. I wasn't going to get top surgery right away, and I wasn't going to get a whole new wardrobe. So I didn't really have any control over my transition, and that scared me a lot. But I knew that I did have control over the name that I called myself and the pronouns that I claimed. So after I told my mom I wanted to go by a boy's name and I wanted to go by boy pronouns, she asked, "What name do you want?" And let me tell you, I was prepared for that question. I had a spreadsheet, it was color-coded, best names at the top, they were alphabetized, it was a masterpiece. I remember my top 3 names at the time were Ethan, Dylan, and Aiden. Pretty quickly, my mom shot down the names that I had suggested, and that kind of hurt. At the time, I was really sensitive to people questioning or disagreeing with my opinions and beliefs on topics surrounding my gender identity and my transition. I think in the back of my head, I took my mom not wanting to call me Dylan as my mom not supporting me wanting to claim a boy's name. And so my mom and I sat down at the computer and we looked at baby names from the year I was born, which I highly recommend if you're trying to find a name for yourself, because first, you don't want to be the 12th Andrew in your class, and second, you want a name that not only represents you, but feels authentic. So we were looking through baby names, and I was pointing some out, and I was saying what I wanted and what I didn't want, and we were looking at what the names meant, and I was just getting really frustrated because my mom was shooting down all of my name suggestions, and in my preteen angst, I felt that she was not being supportive. So in typical preteen fashion, I got up and started stomping away from her. And I said some snarky comment about her not supporting my transition. So she just looked up from the computer and barked, "Xander." And I turned around. Without even thinking twice, I said, "What?" And we both raised our eyebrows and we smiled at each other, and that's been my name ever since. It definitely took the people in my life a while, and even took myself a while to adjust to that being my name. I think even in the most supportive environment possible, in the most trans-friendly environment, there's going to be an adjustment period. I like to think of it more objectively and try to remove myself from the situation. So try to imagine if someone came to you today and said, "You've been pronouncing table wrong your entire life, and table is actually pronounced table." Now just try to imagine if you so believed them that table was pronounced table. You'd probably slip up and call a table a table a few times, because your entire life you've been calling tables tables. And now someone says they're called tables. You can't just flick a switch in your head and start calling table table. It's going to take some adjustment. And it helps me to think of the people in my life this way. Whenever there is an adjustment, especially of semantics, of she versus he, or my birth name versus Xander, it's going to be difficult. And 9 times out of 10, it's not because they're unsupportive. I've had those moments when people blatantly disregard my wishes and call me she on purpose, or use my birth name to sort of taunt me. 9 times out of 10, this isn't the case. 9 times out of 10, people are trying to be supportive, and they're trying their best. But it is difficult to suddenly call a table a table. I know that not everyone out there is going to have an experience like mine, and I know that not everyone is going to share that moment with their parent. but I hope that anyone who claims a name that matches a newfound identity, I hope those people have a moment of being recognized as that name and being recognized in their identity and hearing someone address them as that name for the first time, because that is the most validating thing someone can do for you. Whenever someone asks me,
"Oh, did your parents watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer?"
or
"Are you named after anyone?"
or
"Oh, it's not short for Alexander?"
or
"Oh, it's with a Z and not an X?"
Whenever I get those questions, I think about that day. I think about stomping away from my mother and her calling out Xander and me turning around and without even blinking, without even a second thought, responding. Whenever I sign my name, whenever I see it in print, I think about how I knew that that was my name. And it sort of revalidates that feeling. The one piece of advice I want to give anyone out there trying to find a name for their new identity is try some of them out. Have your friends call you Jacob for a couple days. Try out Margaret, try out Timothy or Thomas or Susan. And remember to stay patient. Stay patient with yourself, stay patient with your family and those around you, because in the end, once you have your name and once you're being called it all the time, that patience is going to pay off. And all of that work and all of that struggle, it's going to pay off. I hope you guys enjoyed this little story time video. If you like these type of videos, then let me know in the comments below and maybe I'll make another one. If you want to see my transition updates, as always, I leave the link in the description. And if you want to see more videos from me in the future, then subscribe. Stay sweet.